Okay, here I'm showing simultaneous videos of the hard drive benchmark test that I had done. On the left is the old Seagate hard drive disk, and on the right is a Samsung solid state disk. At the end of the test, I'll zoom in on the results a little bit so we can see them a little bit better. It just takes a few minutes here. You notice over time that how the Seagate hard drive disk, over time the performance degrades, which is surprising. I didn't even have any clue that it would do that. Still waiting on the results for the Seagate. Okay, now if you look at the Seagate, you had an average transfer rate of 81 megabits a second and the access time of 192 milliseconds. On the solid state drive, you had a 367 megabyte average rating and a 0.09 millisecond response rate. Now here's a copy and paste test that I did on a 1.5 gigabyte file. Now this is the hard disk drive, and it's transferring, you know, it's averaging anywhere from the low 20s up to the 40, 45, 50 megabit per second. It varies, you know, a good amount. And I always thought this was a decent size transfer rate until you started working with large video files and things like that. Things that get, you know, 10, 15, 20 gigabytes, and then it just seems like it takes forever to transfer files from cameras. It's not because of the read speed, it's mostly because of the write speeds to the old disk drive. And on this particular laptop, as you saw, it was only a 5400 RPM drive. So it's definitely a bottleneck. And there you can see it completed it at 55 seconds to do a 1.5 gigabyte file. Now here's the solid state drive, same file. And we're well over 400 average, and there again it varied a little bit. But we're looking at a big difference here, from 55 seconds to 5 seconds. Now here's the biggest increase in time savings I saw was during the boot. Now when I'm talking about a boot, I'm talking about a complete loading of all the system resources, all the processes, and all the background programs that are running, not just to the desktop. Now this is the old hard drive. And I actually had to speed this video up because it had just taken so long for the complete boot. Now what we'll do here is, once I get to the desktop, I'm going to open up my control panel and, excuse me, not my program. I'm going to open up the resource manager so we could take a look at the processor usage, the RAM usage, and the hard disk usage during the boot up. So I can show you exactly how long it takes for all of those services and programs to load. Yeah, I'm still on the load screen here. We're 45 seconds in, and I'm just now getting to the login. This is pretty crazy here. Okay, here's the login screen. I'll put my password in, and now we're going to go to the desktop here, which again takes a few minutes. Well, maybe not a few minutes, but too long. And this is a decent laptop. You know, this isn't a cheap $100 laptop. I mean, this got a really good processor in it, quad core. It's got 8 gigabytes of RAM. So this is no slouch. This thing should be loading a lot quicker than it is. And after these tests, it's obvious that the hard drive was the bottleneck. Now I'm to the desktop there. But here I'm going to go into the task manager and bring up my system resources, and I'll zoom in on that so we can keep tabs on that. And like I said, once I get to a certain point, we will speed this up because it takes a while. Now here we're 2 minutes into it, and I'm still waiting for that one screen to load for my system resources. Okay, now that finally loaded up. I'm going to zoom in on this here so we can get a look at the resources. Now if you look at the CPU and the memory, we're hardly using any of it at all. Yet the disk is at 100% because it has to load all of those system services and all the programs. And at such a slow speed to get all those things loaded, it takes time. Too much time, as a matter of fact. If you want to fast forward through this video, go ahead. I thought I had fast forwarded this or sped up this clip, but apparently I didn't. So I guess I wanted to keep this a real-time video so you can see just how slow this damn startup process is. Now, at this point on my desktop, I probably could start accessing some of my files and folders and some of my smaller programs. If I tried to load a large program like one of my video editing software or anything from my Adobe suite, it would take a while for that page to load because, as you can see, 100% of the disk is being used right now. So, you know, it's a slow, painful process, and I knew there had to be a better way to get this system up and running faster and to move large files around a little faster. So just bear with me here while this thing's loading. I mean, this is real time. This is no crap. And this is a hard drive that was optimized. It was just defragged before I did these tests. So it's operating at its peak. Now, once the hard drive speed or usage drops down, you know, anywhere between 5% and lower, I would consider that a fully loaded system at that point, because you're going to have some odd and end things going on in the background that could take, you know, another 3-4 minutes. So once we get that down, you know, to 95% available resources available on the disk, I would consider that fully loaded. This is painful to watch, I know. This is one of the downsides of the Windows 8.1 operating system, and 8 also, is the look at that, 5 minutes and 5 seconds, and it kicked off. So I got to bring it back up, and it's still at 100 or 99%. What I was saying was that's the bad thing about Windows 8 and 8.1 is the amount of processes and things going on in the background that most people aren't even aware of. It takes a lot of your resources, especially at boot. Now, once your system's booted completely, you know, most of the resources are available to you to use, and you don't notice anything going on. But here we're starting. It looks like we're starting to get close to the end here. We're having big drop-offs, and then it spikes back up. So we're getting close to the end here, hopefully. I mean, this is incredible that we're at the 6-minute mark just to do a full boot. So now you know why when you start your computer and you start your programs, everything is boggy. All right, we're at 6.5 minutes there it took for that to boot, which is insane. Here's the Samsung solid state drive boot. You're going to notice real quick that that everything just flies with this new hard drive. I'm at my login screen in 12 seconds. I'm at my desktop in 20 seconds flat. Now I'm going to go ahead and load up my system resources monitor here so we can take a look at what's going on in the background. And I'll zoom in on that a little bit for us so we can see that. But you're going to see these things fly in. Once everything gets lined up, it just starts flying through there. Now here we're still at 98%, but you can see that the processes are loading so much faster. We're at 55 seconds, and we're starting to drop down on the disk usage already. I mean, we're at 1% at 1 minute and 3 seconds, and 0% at 1 minute and 5 seconds. That is a huge increase in boot time. A huge 628 on the old hard drive. So my thoughts are that if you want to make the single most impressive upgrade to a laptop or a desktop PC, would be to go to a solid state drive. As we saw in the last part of this video clip, your RAM and your CPU, for the most case, are completely free. The bottleneck is your hard drive. Without a doubt, you have to be able to read and write faster. So thanks for watching.